What's up, everyone? ODC here, and I am back with something much different. I don't believe this has ever been done before, as far as what I know. I've done plenty of top 10 videos before, but I have never done a top 10 video live. So I figured, why not? Let's do it. Um, I'm in the mood to do a live top 10. Like I said, I see a lot of top 10 videos. There's a ton of them out there. But I don't think anyone does top 10 videos that are live. So um, I'm going to get through this. And the reason why I chose to do this live was because I would like to discuss each of my picks with all of my viewers as you guys are tuning in live. So I thought this is a fun, different way to be interactive with you all, and this way we can discuss, at the end of the video, what would your top tens be, and we can do that live and kind of feed off of each other. Zorpox, what's up, buddy? How's it going? None of these here are in my top 10. They could be, but you know, they got nudged out by a couple other figures in some other ways. Now, all of my picks you might not agree with necessarily, and that's completely fine. This is based on personal preference, a little bit of nostalgia, which I try not to keep in any of my videos, but I feel like a top 10 video is based off of personal preference anyway. It's not based off of, it's pretty much what you like. It's subjective. So, as much as I'd love to have this Figure Arts Batman in here, he's got a couple flaws here and there. Obviously, the torso issue, but I could have him in there. But like I said, and there's also an issue with mine personally, but I don't want to get into all that. But anyway, here we have some figures that might be in your top 10, as far as that's concerned, as far as that goes. But these are pretty much my honorable mentions right here, as far as that goes. I do have my Arkham. I would like to throw in another honorable mention to kind of hang out with all these guys. These two are pretty much the same thing. This one's from the DC All Stars. This is one from the not the multiverse line. I think it was from the. I'm trying to think. It was the wave after the All Stars wave. I can't remember. This was years ago. But anyway, this is the All Stars version, which I actually prefer better to the shiny one. But it's pretty much essentially the same figure, different paint applications. This is the first appearance Batman, which I love. And a lot of people bitch and moan. Why does he have purple gloves? Well, that was because his first look, he had purple gloves, and then he had blue gloves. So that's why. There's his first appearance. I love this figure. It's one of my favorites. We have the Batman inked wrinkles. We have the DC Superheroes line right here, the blue and gray version, which I love to death, but it got nudged out by a couple others. And there's more of a nudged out, and you'll see that further down the list as I get to why certain things are in the list, and you might not agree with certain things. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to get these gentlemen out of the way here, and we'll jump right into the top 10. I'm kind of trying to segue so some more people start flocking in, but I understand people are just either getting out of work or coming to work or coming from work or whatever the work. The work. You don't even have 5 Batman figures? Not your favorite DC character? Well, he's not. I mean, Batman's one of my favorite DC characters. I'd say I'm a big fan of Batman. He's definitely up there as far as that goes. But let's get these out of here. I'll get all of the honorable mentions out of here. Like I said, I probably would have liked to add a couple more honorable mentions, but I didn't want to flood the screen with a bunch of honorable mentions. Anyway. So those are all my honorable mentions. In case you're just tuning in, I haven't started the list yet. Like I said, this was kind of tough. I have quite a bit. I have quite a few Batman figures, so this was very difficult for me to do. I know I've done probably a top 10 in the past, but I figured I haven't been touching on a whole lot of DC content lately, so I figured it's time. The other honorable mention that I wanted to add in there was also the Arkham super articulated Batman from Arkham City. That's a really good figure too, but he's actually away in storage. So anyway, I digress. Let's get to number 10. Now this is difficult. I'm kind of winging this. Brenda, what's up? I'm kind of winging this. This isn't. I wasn't like a pre-planned thing. I was just like, you know what? I just need to go do a Batman video. I haven't done any DC content in a while. So, and this is extremely tough for me. But I'm gonna go with. And this is just totally based off nostalgia, just because I wanted to put the original figure in there, but the original figure is I think it's at my mom's house somewhere, and I don't feel like digging through that. I'd have to go to her house, get this stuff, bring it back. So I'm just going to put the DC Collectibles animated Batman, actually this is the second release Batman, but it was the original look for the animated series. This is solely based on nostalgia. I understand that there's a lot of limitations with this figure. But every time I look at it, I think back to when I was a kid in third or fourth grade, and I used to bring toys into school with me, just so I could if I was bored during class, I could just play with him under my desk, and the teacher wouldn't know any better. You think I'd be paying attention, but the original figure was going to be on this list, so I'm just kind of molding these two together. But this is a fantastic figure. I understand there's a lot of limitations with them. They can't do a whole lot as far as the DC Collectibles figures go. Like I said, this pick is solely based on nostalgia. It still does have good points of articulation here and there, but it's hindered. I feel like the elbow joints need to be redone. A lot of people's ankles were breaking. Sorry, I got my big old hand in the review, but a lot of people's ankles were breaking on them. So hopefully, down the line they can fix that. But these, I don't know. These are, in my personal opinion, they're meant to be statue-esque figures. They're not really meant to be action figures. They're brittle. They don't really pose that well. They have these old style T-jointed hips. Which I think they actually might have gotten rid of those. I'm not 100% sure. This is an older figure. This was the first release for this suit, or for this look for that Batman. This was actually the second release of Batman. The first release of that animated series Batman was actually from the first wave of Batman the Animated Series figures, which is actually from the New Adventures of Batman. Wow, that was a mouthful. Holy cow. One big, long, run-on sentence, right? So this is my number 10. Like I said, I know, and I don't have all of his accessories, all that stuff, but I don't want to spend too long on this. I just kind of wanted to boom, 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 and then we can all discuss it after. But here's my number 10, and I'll just kind of flip him around to the back so you can see the back. It is just a plastic cape. He didn't come with the cloth cape until, I want to say, the Batmobile came out, which I do actually own. That's like my one major Batmobile that I love and adore. But there's number 10. And I know I probably, you saw the honorable mentions. You're probably like, what? Why would you do that? But like I said, it's solely based on nostalgia. That the original animated series figure was one of my favorite figures just to kind of play around with. But as you'll see, there's more in the list down the line, and I don't feel bad about putting him on the list either. And just because a figure is limited in something doesn't mean that you can't appreciate it. So, but the next figure is number 9. It is the Greg Capullo New 52 Batman from his Court of Owls look. I love this figure. It's got really good articulation. Sometimes with these, though, they had some loose ankle joints. I actually had to fix his with some floor polish, the old, the old floor polish trick. But ever since then, he hasn't had an issue with standing or anything like that. I love the designer look for him. I think they really did a great job, DC Collectibles did, with capturing Greg Capullo's look. I love the mouth, the square jaw, everything. It just looks fantastic. It's really just a pleasing sight to see as far as as far as a Batman action figure goes. I know a lot of people didn't like the new 52 stuff, but I actually enjoyed the look. I think even the paneling looks good, and a much welcomed line when it originally was announced. I was like, oh great, we're getting stylized art like we got Jim Lee's art with the more limited figures, but they looked great, and now we're getting different artist renderings. I think we actually got like 3 or 4 different artist renderings for in action figure form, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, I love this figure. Either this or even the I want to say 0 Year Batman is awesome too. He comes with some pretty cool accessories, really awesome backpack as well. But sticking to the product at hand here, I just think this is very simplistic, good articulation, and this was a big step up at the time for DC Collectibles as far as articulation points and kind of adding more to it. I think at the time they were still using clear peg joints. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know on the neck joints they were clear plastic as well. Tim Casa, what's up? Woodman, what's going on? I'm going to go through all my lists, and then we can all discuss it after that. This is number 9. My number 10, if you're just tuning in, was the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series action figure. It is his original costume. So there is number 9. That is the Greg Capullo Batman New 52 style. All right, number 8, and I feel pretty confident about this. Some people don't like this design. I actually don't mind it. I don't mind the belt. I don't mind the new look. It is the Rebirth Batman. Now, this is the Batman that is a little bit taller than the regular Icons Batman. He's a little bit larger. He came in the Justice League pack. So he's a little bit larger, a little bit bulkier. He fits in scale with your DC UCs, and that's not an issue there. So I don't know. It's a welcomed new design. I don't mind the belt. Some people don't like the belt, and some people don't like the bat symbol. I think it looks good. I think I can appreciate the upgraded articulation. Granted, we still didn't have at the time the Essentials line yet. So I actually don't own any of the Essentials yet. So I'm making this video prior to that. But he does not have any thigh swivels, which is unfortunate knock against his figure. But like I said in the beginning of this top 10, just because a figure is more limited doesn't mean that it's not going to be on my list. There's plenty of other figures that are very limited, almost statuesque forms that are, high up on my list. This is a personal preference list. So, but he's got great articulation. I love the way that the cape sits. It's a nice pliable rubbery style plastic, so it doesn't weigh him down like most Batman figures in the past have. That's a big plus for me. I like the way the ears sit. I like the way just the overall sculpt and detail on him looks. I'm just pretty pleased with how this figure turned out in general. And yeah, so there it is. Number 8 is the Rebirth Batman from the Justice League. Justice League, was it 7 pack, I believe. So there you go with number 8. Number 7. Now this is where it gets a little bit more difficult. Oh boy, this is tough. This is tough. But I'm going to have to go with the Motu styled DC, or I think this was actually the Batman, was it the Batman Unlimited line? I think this is the Batman Unlimited line. Now, I like the blue version also, but I didn't want to crowd the table and crowd you. So, I mean, you could go with the blue version also. I like that version as well. But for me, it's always black and gray when I think of Batman. When I think of Batman, I think of black and gray. But I love this design. I think at the time it was like this was the Dark Knight Returns figure that I've been craving. And I've been saying at the time for years, because I've been doing a lot of DC Universe Classics reviews at the time. Before this came out, I was like, why don't we get a DC Universe Classics on a Motu Classics body? And this was the one I'd been ranting and raving about for a long time. And he's a beautifully done figure. He's on the Motu body with a little bit upgrades. The torso is different. There's a couple different things on him. Obviously, the gloves are going to be different. The boots are going to be different. The cape is new. The head sculpt, obviously. But the arms, the legs are pretty much the same as Motu. So, and even this lower torso piece is Motu. So, I love it. I think it looked good. And for a long time, this really held me over until we got the plethora of different versions that we got, including Batman vs Superman, all that stuff. So, for the longest time, this was kind of my go-to the Dark Knight Returns, and I think they did a pretty good job as far as the face sculpt goes. I think the facial expression looks good, and like I said, whether you have this black and gray version or you have the blue with the yellow and gray, I think either or is a pretty much a home run if you're looking for a cheaper version of a Dark Knight Returns figure. I do like the original DC Direct one, but it's almost too limited for me. And comparing it to this, I think that this is just hits the mark a little bit more for me. But so there is number 7. I got to keep track here because I'm losing track of what's going on here. So that's number 7, and we are down to the last 6 here, and this gets more and more difficult the further down the list I go. Oh boy, just looking at these, but I'm gonna have to go with. Oof. All right, we're gonna go into this territory right now, and I'm going to have to go with my number 6 being the Arkham Origins. I got to move him in a little bit further back here. It is the Arkham Origins Batman by I believe it was DC Collectibles. I think they switched over to DC Collectibles. I think they ceased to being DC Direct at the time. But yeah, it's the Arkham Origins Batman. This is still my favorite suit. I would say a close second is the Arkham City. This is still my overall favorite suit from the Arkham series, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks really good. I love that, and as an overall figure, not only is it my favorite design from the Arkham series, it's also just my favorite articulated Arkham series figure. It's got great articulation. The only issue that I've ever had with this figure was his one hand snapped off because they were using clear peg joints at the time. And this is a victim of the clear peg joint syndrome. That's a major kind of knock against the figure, I would say, for the most part. Let me try and get him in a little bit closer so you can see him in a nicer light here. Let me get my lighting fixed. But overall, a fantastic figure. If you don't have any of these figures in this list, I would definitely highly recommend any of them to you. But he's a beautifully done figure. A lot of people gave Arkham Origins a lot of flack, but overall, I think as far as boss fights go, it's some of the best boss fights that you'll have as far as that goes. It was Arkham Origins. But yeah, this is a wonderfully done figure, and I definitely recommend it to anyone. So there it is, the Batman Arkham Origins Batman is my number 6 pick. Yet again, with the cape, it's also another pliable plastic, so you could get him into fighting poses and not have to worry about this thing weighing him down or holding him up too high, where he can't bend his legs and get into a fighting stance. So this was also, I think, the first Arkham figure that actually had an ankle pivot, which was much welcomed as well. Okay, down to the nitty-gritty, which is the top 5. And this is, ooh boy, this is very tough for me. I'm going to have to go with, Okay, I'm going to go with this. This is my number 5. He's always been on my list as far as top 10 figures go. Now, he's extremely limited. This is the Batman from the Search for Kryptonite Batman. It's highly regarded as one of the best Batman figures ever made. I definitely agree with it. I love the face sculpt. I love the way that the cape drapes over his shoulders. It just looks so perfect. So well done. The way the cape drapes on the ground behind him. It's just beautiful. Now, this is more of a statuesque figure. It's not a true to form action figure. Um, this is back in the DC Direct days where there was no ab crunch. There was no, I don't even know if he had a waist swivel. Yeah, oh, he does have waist swivel. I forgot. But yeah, this is a very highly sought after Batman action figure. I love the way that the utility belt sits with the pockets and everything. The Batman symbol is nice and crisp and clean going across the chest. Um, he does have this kind of like rigor mortis, arthritic hand there, but there's a reason for that. He comes with a batarang, which I actually have put away somewhere. The gauntlet spines that he has are well done. And he's just meant to kind of just sit there and look awesome. And that's why I can appreciate this. This is a beautiful piece of artwork, and I love it. The legs are just pretty much just swivel jointed, and that's it. There's no T jointed hips or anything like that. No Y jointed hips or anything like that. So he's pretty much, like I said, he's just meant to stand there, look good, and that's his job. And he's been a display piece of mine for a very, very long time, and I'm very pleased to have it. Very fortunate to have it, and I'm glad I got it when it wasn't the ridiculous prices that it is. I think it's getting up there as far as the ignorant prices go, but it's beautifully done. I love it. I don't even think he has ankle articulation. He's got bends at the knees. He's got, like I said, swivels at the legs. Single bends at the elbows, wrist swivels and hinge, other stuff like that. But I'm not going to get into a whole review style. I just wanted to kind of say this is a great one in my book and highly recommend it. So there is number 5, and number 4 is maybe something you wouldn't expect, but it's always been high up on my list, and it's over the years it just keeps getting higher and higher on my list, and it is the Young Justice DC Universe Classic style Batman. I love this figure for a lot of reasons. I think it's one of the best DC Universe Classics figures that you can get as far as Batman goes. It was, there's little things here and there, but I get it. It's supposed to be an animated look, so they accomplished that. They knocked it way out of the ballpark as far as that is accomplished. That goes, excuse me. The paneling right here, there's lines going throughout his chest and everything. The bat symbol is actually sculpted into the chest, which was a rarity at that time that you would get that. The cape goes over the shoulders beautifully. The head sculpt looks great, nice animated look. The spines on his gauntlets are, like I said, something to be, I don't know, maybe keep you a little bit wanting. Maybe the spines, you want them further out. But overall, he's got knuckle dusters right here, which is another rarity. Like, you didn't see that. Sculpted knuckle dusters into Batman's uniform at the time. The thighs are just pretty much DC Universe Classics thighs, but he's also got like a metallic shimmer going throughout his charcoal gray suit, which is just so well done. The boots are just kind of painted on, very simplistic in that design, but the back of the cape looks good, very animated looking, and overall, yeah, just kept growing on me and growing on me over the years, and it's always been in my top 10, or at least a very close into my top 10 in my recent top 10s, but I always have him in my list somewhere, but he just, that's my number 4. All right, number 3. Excuse me. Number 3 is the Mezco Batman versus Superman, Batman. I love this Batman. It's definitely one of my favorites. Between the next three, you could kind of maybe interchange. Or not, I'd say the next one between him and him, you could probably interchange them for me. But I'm gonna stick to my guns on this and say he's my number three. I like the way that the suit turned out overall. I was kind of worried it was going to be a little bit more pajama like, seeing as it's kind of like it's all one, pretty much one piece. But I think they nailed it. All the gold looks really good going throughout his knuckle dusters right here. The spines on his gauntlets really well done. The utility belt looks great. I mean, it's a Mezco figure. It's an $80 figure that went up to $110 within a week after being released, which was, I thought, really ridiculous. I thought they did a really good job with giving off this leathery type look for the cape. And there's even some nice paint detail on the bottom to give it that worn, he's been through battles look. So that's really nice that they decided to go that route. And if I can see if I can get his foot back in this peg here. But I love this figure. It's definitely one of my favorite Batman figures that I own. And I'm very fortunate and pleased to have it. I actually had to pre-order this guy because all the hoopla that went into getting this guy, it was ridiculous. Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorites. And if you do find him for around the $80 to $90 price point, I'd say pull the trigger on him, because I think he goes for a lot more now, which is just ridiculous. But that's Mezco figures for you. I also like the intricate designs and the lines throughout the cloth suit, which is not an easy thing to do, to get digital designs on a cloth suit and make it look good. You know, sometimes Mezco with their designs, it doesn't look right. Like, I don't know, just sometimes it just doesn't come out looking proper. But this is a case of looking great. And I love that the bat symbol right here is textured. It's just very well done. You can definitely see the look of Ben Affleck in that face. Overall, love the suit. It's fantastic. He even has gold tips on his boots, as you can see right there. And it's just a very well done figure. So that's my number three. Okay, number two probably won't be a surprise to anyone. Number one might be a surprise to people, but if you've been collecting Batman figures for long enough, you might not disagree. My number two, let's see if I can slide him in here. My number two is the Mezco Dark Knight Returns Batman. I love this figure. This is another figure that I'm glad I pre-ordered, because the prices after got real ignorant real quick. This is well, this definitely knocked down the DC or the Batman Unlimited Motu Dark Knight Returns Batman. Once I got this, I think as far as the face sculpt goes, looking very gritty, very old manish. They nailed that as far as giving us Frank Miller's artwork. I think the overall look and aesthetics of this figure, it's just really beautifully done. I love that the belt has touches of paint detail to go throughout, just to give that extra little look of being worn and weathered. It's just added detail. Added detail that they didn't have to do. Well, they did have to do it, because this figure was, I think it was, I want to say $50 at the time, and then it shot up to like $100 out of nowhere. Because this is when Mezco just started out. So this is one of their earlier bodies, one of their earlier cloth designs. There were a couple of issues of people's seam splitting. I don't have that issue. I've never had that issue. But the cape is not as good as the Batman vs. Superman, Batman vs. Superman cape. It doesn't have that texturing, that different type of feel, but they're going for a comic book look, and I think that this is the proper look for him. So it looks really good. Really pleased with it. And here he is with his cape all wound in. Looks good. And there's actually a little bit of weight right here the cloth cape to kind of keep it cinched down so it hangs properly at his feet. So I thought that was a nice touch as well, something that most companies don't think of to do. But there's number two. Okay, so there's number two. Now number one, this might not be a surprise. It really might not. He's been my number one for a long time. And there's a reason why. He works so well. I still think that this is the best Batman figure ever made. I don't know if anyone will really be able to top it, and I'm just really happy to have it. There it is. It is the DC. The DC. DC. What's wrong with me? The DC. Or no, not signature. Who was it? DC. It's the S4 sculpt. Anyway, S4 sculpt, gray and black Batman. This is not actually the angry Batman that came out earlier with a different head sculpt. This is the original release, the first Batman that we pretty much got in DC Universe style before it was DC Universe Classics. And this is just, to me, the best Batman figure still to date. Even though it's got some limitations here and there, the overall sculpting, the face sculpt is still just screams to me one of the best Batman face sculpts I've ever seen, as far as that goes. And I think this is the best DC Universe Classics Batman style that you can get. Like I said, they did reuse this in I think it was the Batman Unlimited line. But the paint apps were a little bit different. The face sculpt was different. It was more of like an angry face. I think they reused the same face that they did with the clay face, and everyone calls it the poopy Batman. I think they reused that face with this body and gave it different paint apps. But this one is very special because they didn't really reuse this head too much. I think they only used it on the blue Batman, which is right here. They only reused it on this one, and this one is actually different. This one does vary from that one. As you can see, the belts are much different. The utility belts are much different. He's got a much beefier belt than he does, with a little Batman symbol right there. But I prefer this one. It's kind of a little bit more gritty, a little bit more old school here. I actually prefer the more simplistic paint apps as opposed to him having a lot of black paint shading going throughout. But he's still a really good figure, and if you don't have this one, because this guy does go for quite a good penny, if you don't happen to have this guy, that blue and gray version is a beautiful piece to have as well. The body itself, the gloves are sculpted. They have sculpted line and detail going throughout on the gloves, as you can see right there. These are some cool things that I'm going to point out. He did come with several batarangs, which I don't have right here. As you can see, there's a little slot in his hand. Excuse me. There's a little slot in his hand right there for batarangs. I think he came with like around 3 or 4 batarangs. I like the way that the cape sits over his shoulder, high and tight. I think that looks really good. It doesn't fall over the shoulder, so you can get full range of motion with the shoulders right here. I love the way the cape sits on the back. It just looks free flowing, like he's ready to knuckle up. He's ready to throw down. He's ready to have a big fight, and he doesn't want his cape in the way. Like I said, the spines I think look really good on there, on his gloves, or his gauntlets, excuse me. I like the overall different line work and texturing going throughout the upper piece right here on the palm, going down all the way throughout the forearm, because it actually gives off that kind of almost leathery feel. And then when you get down here, he's got his hard knuckle dusters right there. It looks beautiful. The bat symbol is sculpted in and painted black. Looks wonderful. The sculpt right here, now you can actually take a look right here. There's actual sculpting in here to make it look like a suit and not just like it's just painted over. Like so many other Batman suits just look like they're just painted on a naked body. But this actually gives you that feeling of, oh, this guy's actually wearing a suit. Okay, cool. I already explained about the belt. I love how it's kind of a little bit more gritty, a little bit more old school here. With the before Batman was putting his logos on every single detail of his costume. Outside underwear, why the hell not? Because I love it. The boots look fantastic. I know I'm going into a little bit of a review here, but this is my number one pick, so I don't mind doing it. The boots look great. There's a lot of line work and detail going throughout the top of the boot where the seams are. Going throughout down here, there's a little bit of looks like a flexible material, so maybe he can bend his foot a lot easier when he's going to kick people. On the bottom is my favorite little piece, and those are little teeny bat symbols on the bottom of the soles of his boot. And you can see how well sculpted the bottom of the soles are for his boots. It's just, like I said, it's just the little bit of details that add up to make this, in my eyes, the best Batman figure ever made. Period. I love it. It looks fantastic. It's a shame that this line was actually due to poor distribution on Mattel's part, which it didn't end up selling well, and they yanked it. And then a few years later, then we got the DC Universe Classics line with a little bit less sculpt work and paint detail. But still, DC Universe Classics line, probably one of my favorite lines that ever exists as far as toys go. So, but yeah, I'll just bring everybody in here from my top 10. If I can fit everybody in here. I don't know how the heck I'm going to do this. But yeah, that's my top 10. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. If you guys want to start chatting, I'll go through some of the comments that I missed. And if you guys have any questions about any of the figures, if you guys want to add in your top 10 and we can discuss that as well, I am more than happy to do that with you all, so we can have something to talk about here. But I haven't done a top 10 DC really much of anything lately. And I wanted to do some sort of DC content, which I haven't done in so long, and it's much needed. I'll put him over here. And don't worry, I'm gonna back the camera up so I can get everybody in there. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fit everybody in here, so I'll try my best. Yeah, I mean, there's so many DC Universe Classics Batmans that I have that weren't even on this list or the honorable mentions that are great figures on their own as well. Like I said, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there that disagree, and that's fine. I totally get that. It's all personal preference at the end of the day anyway. Alright, let's see if I can not screw this up. The only guy that's not fitting in there is that Batman. There we go. I'll try and get him in. There we go. There we go. Okay. There is everybody. Everyone's in there. Whoop. Hanging out in the background. There we go. Pinch him in here a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so let me go through the comments really quick. All right, let's see here. I'm going to give everybody a shout out as well. Zorpox, what's going on? Brenda, how are you? Woodman, how's it going? Tim Casa, hello. Welcome, everyone. Oscar, what's up? Okay, so you guys have any questions or comments? You guys can go ahead and add those in, and I'll do my best to answer them for you all. Was this the one that came on a display type set? Yeah, this one, he came in the Young Justice. It was kind of like a deluxe set where he came in with like a gargoyle and like like a ledge, like a perch. Yeah, because Robin came in there too. That's another one of my favorite Robins. But so, what's everyone else's top 10? Go ahead and throw in your top 10. We can discuss them. Like I said, I could have added more. I could have added less. I was actually thinking about only doing a top 5, but do I generally wait? Hold on. Do I generally collect in groups of 10, or is it happenstance? Oh no, I've had these figures for a long time. I mean, oh god, Black and Gray Batman was actually the first review I did on my channel about 6 years ago. So he's the first figure I did a review of. So I've had him for actually longer than 6 years. I've had him, oh boy, I want to say about a decade. Young Justice Batman, I got him. I want to say I got him when about 6 months after he came out. Same thing goes for him. He was a Big Bad Toy Store pre-order. Got him at Walmart when the Batman Unlimited line came out. I got this whole set. I want to say about 2 years ago. The Icons Justice League set. This guy had a pre-order. This was like the first Mezco figure that I think they made. This one, oh, this guy I got. I actually got it in New York Comic Con. I think back in 2013 or 2014. Was it? I think it was 2014. Yes, it's 2014. Because that's when Arkham Origins came out. This guy I got. I think this was just another random pre-order. Oh no, I got this at my comic shop. Never mind. The Yeah, this guy is definitely standing the test of time, and he's definitely still my number one. You only have 3 Batmans, but my best one is the SH Figure Arts Justice League. Got him at a deep discount. Nice, man. Yeah, I mean he's definitely in my honorable mentions as one of my favorites. I had him in there. Ugh. In the beginning of the video, I did a whole bunch of honorable mentions, and he was on there. Even though he's got the shorter torso, and people really nitpicked the hell out of that, I was like, I don't really care. That's fine with me. I think it looks good. I attempted to do that mod. I attempted to do the mod to make the torso a little bit longer, and it just stretched out the hole at the bottom part of the torso. There's like a hole, and I tried using what was it, Brad, the DC Universe guy or geek or whatever heck his name is. He actually started showing people the mod, and when I did it, I used the ball peg that he did, and it just kind of stretched out the hole on the lower torso piece, and it didn't work right. So I just went back to the original peg and had to heat up the peg hole so I could remold it back to making it a little bit tighter. Your favorite is the Arkham Origins one? Yeah, I mean he's awesome. He's definitely awesome. Great looking figure. The game got a lot of flack at the time, but the boss battles were the best, I thought. what I'm concerned. Um, how many Batmans are in my collection? Well, I have every single DC Universe Classics one. I have all the S4 sculpt ones. I have a lot of DC Direct figures. There's some that are mint on card that are very important to me that I left mint on card. Um, and then I have the New Frontier Batman. I can't, I don't even know if I can list them all. Um, I'm trying to think. The New Frontier Batman. I have the I don't know. I'll just have to show it in a video sometime. But I have a lot of Batman figures. But it's something I've accrued over a long period of time. It's not something I just went out and bought yesterday. You know what I mean? It takes years and years and years. So I've been collecting since I don't know. I was around 12 years old and I started taking collecting seriously. I'd still play with my figures, but I'd collect them as well. Oh yeah, he scales a little bit smaller, Oscar. But yeah, I mean, as far as action shots go, I mean, I think he looks the part. It looks good. I like that the figure arts Batman vs Superman figure looks great. BVS bats looks good. But yeah, I was missing this. I was missing doing DC content. I haven't done it in so long. I think what happened was I did all those DC Universe Classics reviews, and I think I kind of got burnt out with DC content, and I wasn't focusing. I like when I first started off my channel, it was like all DC Universe Classics, and like a little bit of Marvel Legends, but and like a sprinkled in a couple GI Joes here. But I was not ever doing any of my GI Joe reviews, and I was getting burnt out on DC stuff constantly, and I was just like, I think I need a break. So I took a long time off of doing DC products for a little while. It doesn't mean I wasn't still picking stuff up. I just wasn't doing videos or reviews on them. Yeah. I think when people like they see the 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 amount of mass that someone has in their collection, they're like, "How do you afford all that?" And it's like, "Well, dude, if you spend, $20 when a figure comes out, and then you multiply that by around, I don't know, 15, 15, 20 years, I don't know, that's not really that much money you're spending." I don't think a lot of people that are, I don't know, maybe just new to collecting or just getting into collecting or whatever. I'm not speaking for anybody on here, but I don't think a lot of people understand that that's how collecting works. Like, you don't just go out and buy a, like, unless you have the, disposable income and you could just buy whatever you want. That would you do your thing, whatever. But me personally, like it's been a lots of years doing this. So you've been collecting since '82. Wow, it's definitely longer than me. Like, I've always played with my toys, but when I was started, it was I was like, hey, I should start like collecting these and displaying them, and starting to do that. Like, that's I started really taking it serious around my, I think it was like 12th or 13th birthday. Yeah, like a constant marathon. Yeah. Yeah, anytime, Brenda. I'm glad you liked it. I wanted to do something a little bit outside the realm of the normal thing I've been doing. Like, I'm still gonna do like my GI Joe stuff and my Marvel Legends stuff, but sprinkle in a little bit of DC here and there. Yeah, you're lucky, Woodman. All my childhood figures were destroyed in a flood, so you know you're very fortunate. Well, I would say the majority, like 90% of my stuff, was destroyed. So well, I don't know. You'll just have to wait and see, Zorpox. Maybe, maybe I don't know. Yeah, well, you know what? Strident and I actually just did a podcast, um, and we were kind of discussing that. Where's where there is a finish line for all of this, and for me, I think that there is a finish line eventually. Um, there's only so much that and I have goals. See, that's the thing. Like when I've been collecting for so long that I'm like, eventually this has to like settle down into the realm of me within the realm of reason. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm buying things all the time. I don't do all that. I'm not constantly buying something. If I see something that sparks my interest, I might watch it. Or if I see something on eBay, I might watch it for a little while, see if it drops in price. Play the market a little bit. But eventually, I just want to be able to settle down and be happy with what I have and be able to enjoy it and appreciate it. Um, so eventually, there is going to be a finish line, and you know, I was, and that's the other thing. Like, I'll get rid of things that I no longer really hold that near and dear. I've actually consolidated a lot of my collection with some of my older Marvel Legends. I don't really think that they stand up to the test of time, really. I got rid of a whole chunk of those, and I don't have any regrets about it. Um, there's a lot of the Arkham figures that I have, and I want to say that besides, I don't know, maybe about 10 Arkham figures, I have the majority of that collection, and that's kind of running its course with me. Because I have enough Batman figures as it is. I don't know. Someone else can appreciate it more than I can, because right now a lot of those Arkham figures are just sitting in a box, and that is not doing anything. You know, if I'm not displaying something, what's the point? You know, I don't want to just become a hoarder, because that's not what collecting is. There's a big, huge difference, line in the sand, when it comes to hoarding and collecting. I never get something just for the sake of getting it. I get it to have it serve a purpose. Well, I'm glad you like the podcast, Orpox. I think we did 2 podcasts. I don't know when he's going to upload the other one, but we did another one also. You got a box from your parents' house years back. Surprised to find original toys. Great stuff. Awesome, man. That's awesome, Woodman. Do I sell anything on eBay or private sales? Been thinking about slimming down the hoard. Well, I never consider collecting hoarding. Now, a lot of think that they're collect hoarders. Like when people just say, "Oh, thrill of the purchase. I already have 3 of these, but I'm gonna get another one." I'm like, that's kind of hoarding. It's not really collecting. Like, I don't know. To me, at least. But I know people, I guess, maybe have different definitions of what collecting is. So, but I know you're just kidding. But I'm saying in general. I'm not talking about you in particular. Um, but yeah, I do sell some figures on eBay. I do. I sold a whole bunch of my Hot Toys figures just because I just they don't serve a purpose for me anymore. They just kind of sit there. They don't do anything. And at the end of the day, you know, they I could use that space. They take up a lot of space too. That's the other thing about Hot Toys. I feel like if you're a collector of Hot Toys, that's got to be like your only thing. Like you only collect Hot Toys. I feel like to collect Hot Toys and then collect 6-inch figures, because there's so many 6-inch figures or 3 3/4 inch figures available. at your disposal. If you collect Hot Toys figures, they're going to take away a lot of space that you could put your 3 3/4 inch or your 6 inch figures, especially because a lot of 3 3/4 inch figures come with play sets, which we all know. Hence GI Joe. But yeah, I've sold a lot of my Hot Toys figures. I don't have too many left at this stage of the game. Do I have any vids of the toy show? All of the footage is on Strident's channel, so if you want to go check that out, he's gonna upload another video, which is footage of the toy show that we went to. I didn't take any footage just because he was already taking footage. I was like, it's kind of redundant. So, but you could check out all my pickups on there too. I did. It's all gonna be on his channel. You'll be able to see everything. So. Be sure to go check that out within the next maybe couple days or so. He'll probably upload that, is what I'm assuming. You need to build your collection. But yeah. Oh man, I'm yawning. You know what's funny? A funny fact I found out today. That you know, like when you yawn, when someone yawns around you and then you yawn. It's actually a good thing that you yawn when someone else is yawn, because it's actually without knowing you're doing it, it's actually a sign of empathy, because you're being empathetic towards the person yawning. It's like a weird thing, like your brain triggers it. That's why you yawn when someone else yawns. I don't know, but I also found out that usually when if you yawn and someone else sees it and they don't yawn, it's actually kind of a bad sign that you might be a sociopath. I mean, that's what I've heard. I heard this from a friend of mine is a psychologist, and she told me that. So I thought it was interesting, but fun little fact that has nothing to do with action figures. But we're going on an hour here, and I don't know if I want to keep it past an hour. So if you guys have any more questions or comments or anything like that you would like to know, hit me up now before I let you go. That rhymed. But okay, well, if you guys don't have anything left to add, I'll just I think I'll stop it here. Hope you guys enjoyed this top 10. Like I said, I haven't been doing a whole lot of DC figures lately. My computer's still not fixed. No, I still haven't gotten it back yet. So this is actually my and my iPad took a dump too. So this is actually my mother's iPad that I'm using right now. She's nice enough to allow me to use it. What's my go-to Joker? I only have two Jokers because I don't know. The Joker's not like a big deal to me as far as characters go. But oh no, don't worry about it, Woodman. No big deal. It'll like I said, it'll eventually get fixed. There's just other things that I have to put money into, like bills, mortgage, car payments, stuff like that. But anywho, my go-to Joker Oscar is the DC Universe Classics Joker. I think that's probably the best Joker ever made, in my opinion. But the Mad Love 2-pack is a close second. I believe there's a Mezco Joker as well. I also really like the Batman the Animated Series Joker. The one that actually, I think it's the one that came with the two hyenas. That's a really good one also. I don't have that one, but like I said, I only have the Mad Love 2-pack and that Joker. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a lot of good Flash figures out there. The new DC Essentials figures look good, but I don't know. Originally I told myself I was going to get at least like Batman and Superman, but they don't. I mean, they don't come with anything. It's like they don't come with any accessories, and they're at a $25 to $26 price point, and I'm like, what the heck am I paying for? Am I just paying for like this is a 20? This was actually less than $20. This was like $15 back in the day. This was less. I think this was around like $13 or $14. This guy was $20. DC Collectibles. Most of these are around $20. Well, obviously not these two. These. This guy was $80. This guy was, I think, 55 when he originally came out, but he was the first Mezco figure to come out. So if he would have came out now, it'd probably be $80, $85. But the majority of these on my list are $20 figures, except for the two Mezco ones. So, but you want the Wonder Woman in the Essentials line? Yeah, she looks good. Who's my go-to Batman villain? Whew. Well, my top two are Clayface and Man-Bat. So those are my top two. If I had to pick two. So. But, yeah, I think I'm going to cut it here. There's already people leaving, so, and I'm just over an hour, and I said I wouldn't want to go over an hour. But I hope you guys enjoyed this top 10. Leave your comments below. Obviously, not the live people. But yeah, let me know in the comments below for people that aren't watching this live what your top 10 is. Give me a thumbs up. That helps me a lot. If you want to give me a thumbs down too, that's cool. But let me know how I can improve my content. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Hit the bell for notifications because that helps me and you. And, or you and I should say. Yeah, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.